Tommy, just what you could say about the message here at Syracuse when you're out and you're looking for these recruits, just what you could say about how things are going on the trail and what that central message is from this team.
It's been the same message since I got here the entire time. It's about the people, right? I think this is a people profession. This is a people business. That's what I think it's all about, right? We have phenomenal coaches here, right? Obviously, Fran Brown. We're always going to talk about DART, detailed, accountable, relentless, and tough. Can you answer these three questions with actions? Do you care? Are you committed? And can I trust you? Right? And then faith and hard work, right? And being able to believe in that. And you have an offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, who is, statistically the best offensive coordinator in the country, some would say, right? And then you have a phenomenal defensive coordinator in Elijah Robinson, who had 5 players that he coached and recruited, drafted, 2 in the first round last year, right? So it's always about the people, right? Always about the people to me.
What's the last couple of months been like for you stepping into the GM role full time?
It's been awesome. I to be honest, in the initial part, I leaned on our former GM Nate McNeil. He did a great job for us here, so I'm really appreciative to him. And just the relationship that I've been able to have with with Coach Fran. It's been just like our team is coming closer together and building that bond and that brotherhood. I feel like we've done the same and worked really well with each other. He tells me the truth and I tell him the truth, and it's been a lot of fun. I was a college coach for almost 10 years and a head high school coach for 7 years, and then to come here, I scouting, and then I was a coach. And now to be in this role, it's really cool to see all the different behind the scenes things that you might not even think about as a coach, right, that now are part of like my day-to-day kind of operations.
What kind of advice did Nate, or maybe even Coach Fran, give you as you stepped into the general manager role?
Honestly, Nate was just like, hey, just be yourself. Same thing with Fran, just be yourself. So, everything I do, as far as, having that role is I just work really hard. I try to do as much as I possibly can. You try to make a list of what you can get done in a day, and you get through as many things as possible. Whatever you don't get through, you get through tomorrow. You know what I mean? And obviously, I'm still like in college football. Like as far as the GM, I know Fran believes this. It's you got to be able to recruit. So I still continue to recruit and stuff like that. And now a recruit hearing from a GM is a pretty cool thing.
Has the start of the rev share era changed anything for Syracuse in any way?
I mean, yeah, it's changed the entire landscape of college football. It's went from not being, or having the collectives do it or whatever, how they're going to say it, and then now it's coming from the school. So it's totally changed the way of college football.
How does it change your job, I guess, is maybe a better question. How does it change your...
I got to make sure I'm, adding and subtracting and doing it very well. These are a lot of money that you're dealing with, right? So you have to constantly be checking yourself and making sure the numbers are right and making sure, however you want to say that, but it's a very important, when it comes down to money like that, and a lot of it, you just have to be on your P's and Q's and, make sure you're really detailed.
Is that what makes your job similar to, say, an NFL general manager? You're constantly managing somewhat of a cap?
Yeah,
in the college level?
You're legitimately, kind of managing a salary cap. You can't go over the salary cap and things of that nature. So that would be kind of the roster management part, and then the salary cap part, I would assume is, kind of really how it's kind of coinciding with the NFL. But I think that's why, again, this job kind of came more prevalent, right? Because of, okay, it's going to 105 or whatever, and it's going to a salary cap. So you want to have that, whatever kind of word you want to, synchronicity, whatever word you want to use, I don't know. But as far as this is what they're doing in the NFL, now this is what you're doing in college, so now it can kind of coincide. And now what you're doing here is going to kind of give you an idea of how it's going to be in the NFL, because, part of our responsibility here, when every kid that we recruit comes here, we're doing that because we think you can play in the NFL, right? We're not, we should just take that guy. No, we're recruiting guys we think can play in the NFL, right? So we want to teach them how to be a pro, Had a couple scouts here already. We're going to have a ton of scouts coming here throughout the entire preseason and season, which we're really excited about.
On a similar vein, NFL-wise, how do you utilize not only the guys that have been around for a long time, like the Dwight Franeys of the world, but even like Kyle and Fidel and the guys that just got drafted to essentially recruit for you and put the message out there for Syracuse?
Listen, those guys are such great people, and they're such great human beings, right? And they had such a great experience here. They do that on their own. We don't have to ask them to do that. Those guys are more than willing. You guys saw it all in the spring, right? How many guys were here training, right? How many guys were here around practice? How many guys were always here? So, that we don't have to do that. how they came here and the people that they are and the experience they had, they show that for themselves. They're more than willing to do that on their own.
Kind of continuing to recruit through this process and in this transition, can you speak a little bit, you hear from every form of leadership on this team about knowing the players' why. What do you think is the key to knowing the players' why, and how does it feed into this culture here?
I think it's building a relationship with people, right? Like me, again, I always go back to the people and building relationships and building trust, right? So when I first got here, unless you really have a relationship with somebody, it's going to be hard for them to tell you what their why is or what there is, but I think when you really break down to it and you see that, man, this guy's working hard every day and these people are doing everything every day, you build that relationship, and it's like kind of the old coaching model. You coach them really hard, you break them down a little bit of the bad habits, and then you go and you put your arm around and you build them back up, right? Never want anybody to ever leave the building feeling some type of way or whatever. You want to build that relationship, and I think that's how you build trust. And once you have trust, then you can be up in front and honest with those questions. Hey, what's your why, man? Why do you want to be here? Why do you play football? Right? Why do you want to go to the NFL? Right? Because for here, it's not just about us getting kids to the NFL, right? It's about making them successful. It's about when you're 32 and your career is over in the NFL, right? What are you going to do next? Because the NFL stands for what? Not for long, right? So you're not going to be there a long time. If you are, great, that's awesome. But if you're not, what can we do to help you after? That's why Fran has Syracuse 60, right? That's why we make sure every one of our kids gets a job within their field of study using our network and our resources. So it's not just about football. And the other night he was saying, hey, what do you think about this? I was like, I think it's great. Anytime you talk to these kids about life, about things outside of football, right, to help build them up and be successful, because everybody's going to be, like the old NCAA saying, everybody's going to be professional in, something, right, whether it be, football or whatever your sport is, whatever, but you're going to end up having a career in something, right? So it's not just about football for us. It's about life after football. It's about being a great parent. It's about being a great brother, being a great friend, family member, however.
Tommy, how did you manage to have some and continue to have success in Florida, where it is hyper competitive? It's probably the most competitive recruiting state out there if you wanted to go pound for pound, right? How did you get in there and continue to have that success?
It's just relationships, Fran has been recruiting that way longer than I have, you know what I mean? It's every single coach on our staff at some point in their career has been in Florida, right? We have multiple coaches on our staff from Florida, right? And it's, again, just relationships, I think that's, I'm always going to say that. You're probably going to get annoyed of it, but this is a people business, whenever somebody's trying to look something up on the internet, I'm the one on the phone, right? So I just think that relationship stuff is the major key piece, right?
Can you speak to the resources that you do have? I mean, the new performance center and everything that's at the Lally complex, just how that works in your favor now as you move forward as the GM.
Listen, it's outstanding. I mean, it's really outstanding, when you get to say, hey, we got a brand new football facility, you know what I mean, $65 million or whatever, sometimes I gas it up to a little bit more just to make it sound better. But, even having like a beautiful, we just put this nice brand new turf down, right? You can see the investment, right, from the community, from the, from the school, from the administration and stuff like that. So when you see that, right, it's just another way to elevate. Right, another way to elevate. And when, kids everybody likes new stuff, and it allowed us to be, our scouting department room was a tiny little room. We were like back to back, and now it's way bigger, and now we have more people in that room who are doing an outstanding job. Our scouting department grows, and that's going to extend our reach and allow us to do even more, and to do an even better job. But I mean, the facilities, I think they speak for themselves. They're really nice. They're amazing. Our kids do a great job of making sure they keep it nice too. Right, so we have a standard, and that standard rises every day, and those kids do a really good job of making sure we keep our stuff actually, nice like it is.
Earlier when you said, the advice of be yourself, for the Syracuse fans who don't know, who is Tommy and what does being yourself mean to give you the success that you have?
I mean, listen, I was always told that if you do a great job at your job, that's how you continue to grow and get better, right? I was just I'm a kid from North Jersey, right? I'm Italian. Always tried to work really hard. My family instilled that in me. My mom, my dad, my grandparents, and I'm played linebacker in college, so all of 5'8", 200 pounds. I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts, which I'm super grateful for, and their motto was an inch short and a step slow, but we're going to work really hard. They believed in building a brotherhood and building those relationships, which I always think is really important as a football team. Right? If you can be the most connected football team, the closest football team, And I think that's how you really win. And, you know, just my experiences throughout my career, being a college coach and then being a high school coach and junior college and seeing all the different levels, kind of understanding that. And honestly, like I came here with just a goal to, you know, I was really blessed to be able to work with Fran. He gave me an opportunity that nobody else gave me. And I just wanted to work really, really hard to make sure that him and this football program and all these other coaches get all the credit and everything that they deserve and all their hopes and dreams come true. And you know, I just wanted to work hard to make them be successful and help, you know, obviously help Fran, you know, be successful and show him how grateful I am for this opportunity.
So Demetrius committed to you, then flipped to Florida, and then flipped back. When do you remember feeling good that you were going to get him back, and what do you think was the key in making that happen?
You know, it's funny. I remember sitting over here, I think it was when we had the whole scouting department last year, and Emily, right, who announced she's with the Vikings, right, she did a really good job when she was here. She asked me about how you had some guys flip and stuff like that. And I remember kind of saying that it's about relationships, right? Like, these are young kids. They're going to make decisions sometimes off emotions. You got everybody pulling at them, right? But if you just, you know, I continued to talk to him the whole time. Me, his family, Coach Fran, obviously Coach Stork, all had a great relationship with him and his family. And again, we just kept communicating and kept talking. And he's a great kid. I mean, he's working his butt off, super mature for a kid that came in at 16, right? And, you know, it wasn't like feeling good or whatever. It's just you stay persistent, you stay consistent, and you don't change up on them, right? Like, if you get a kid that commits to you and then all of a sudden you're like, you know, I'm done with that kid or whatever, like, that's not real to me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kids that you're going to recruit that aren't going to come to Syracuse. There's kids that you're going to go all the way down and build a relationship with, and it's going to be great, and they're going to choose somewhere else because it's only 105 people, right? You're going to recruit a lot more. So at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. Like, there's kids that I talk to that are not going to come here, and that's great, but I just want to help people. And that was kind of the whole thing, and I think everybody on our staff is kind of the same way with that. We don't have any ill will towards anybody. You're going to make decisions. You know, I'm going to wish you nothing but the best. If you ever need anything, I'm here. Call me. I'm here to support. I'm here to answer questions, whatever. Like, that was just never me to say, you know, whatever, forget that kid. Like, it's about relationships. Like, and then you got to think about the landscape of college football, right? You got to think about the transfer portal. So if I make sure I keep great relations with this kid, he goes somewhere else, and then all of a sudden he ends up in the portal, well, guess what? I'm hoping maybe Syracuse is one of those calls, right, that we get about him.